Welcome D&D players far and wide, thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about the new book being announced, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. This new book for 5e finally puts the dragon back into Dungeons & Dragons. From initial impressions, it seems like this book will be much like 3.5's Dragonomicon, the Dragonomicon being a mini encyclopedia of dragons. It contained lore, detailed art, new rules, feats, spells, magic items, and other materials associated specifically with dragons. The Dragonomicon gave dragon-themed content for both players and dungeon masters. Honestly, it might be one of the best D&D supplement books ever made. It's really not surprising that 5e would release its own Dragonomicon. Starting with the Yawning Portal, Wizards of the Coast has begun releasing a greatest hits series from previous editions. I believe Treasury of Dragons will fall in line with this recent trend. So, what's going to be inside this book? Well, we don't know for sure. The best guesses we have at the time of this recording is that we'll at least see new player options close to what was in the Draconic Options Unearthed Arcana. In this Unearthed Arcana, we got new Draconic races, feats, and spells, and what's more, Gemstone Dragons were hinted at. Gemstone Dragons are the neutrally aligned dragons from previous editions of D&D. While chromatic dragons align towards evil and metallics towards good, the gemstones fall in between. Their big differentiating features that they are psionic. In the Unearthed Arcana, we can see racial features and feats that make reference to the gemstone's psionic nature. This is extremely exciting as psionics have kind of fallen by the wayside in 5th edition. Now up on the screen is a list of gemstone ancestries seen on the Unearthed Arcana. 5e already has an adult Sapphire Dragon stat block released, all but confirming it to be in this book. Additionally, looking at the cover of Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, we can see a crystal gemstone dragon squaring off against a red dragon. Hopefully, we'll soon be getting a closer look at more of these incredible monsters. I personally want to see the Topaz Dragon the most. In the past, the Topaz Dragon lived near water and breathed a cone of dehydration, which seems to be in line with its necrotic damage type. I want to see how the dragon is interpreted for 5th edition, and maybe if any new lore is added to these dragons. What is really intriguing about this book is the individual whose name graces its cover. Fizbin, or Fizbin the Fabulous, is from the Dragonlance setting. He's a powerful mage in the world of Kryn, and is an avatar of the god Paladin. With a new Dragonlance trilogy back in the works thanks to a dropped lawsuit, Wizards of the Coast seems to be hinting at a return to this beloved setting. Hopefully with the success of Eberron, Ravnica, and Exandria, it is now profitable in the eyes of Wizards of the Coast to begin releasing campaign settings again. If so, this would be tremendous. Dragonlance is a great setting that many newer D&D fans don't know a lot about, and bringing it back into the spotlight should excite supporters of the game, young and old. I know that many D&D fans would love a return to other worlds too, particularly Dark Sun and Spelljammer. Hopefully, this book is a step in that direction. The release date of the book is still months away, and Amazon leaks suggest the release date could be late October 2021, but I'm not so sure. Wizards of the Coast tends to space out the releases of its books. Strixhaven is set to release in November, which falls in line with 5e's usual release cycle. With delays and scheduling, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually saw this book closer to 2022. However, 5e is more popular than ever, so maybe Wizards of the Coast thinks that they can get away with 2 books. Although I'm concerned, previous editions oversaturated the market with too many supplement books, and personally, I don't wish the same fate to befall 5e. We're getting more dragons in 5th edition, but what does that mean? Now we're getting into my personal opinions about dragons here, so this is your warning. First, let's talk about the position of dragons in the game right now. And, at least in my opinion, they are severely underutilized in 5th edition. Despite their name being in the title of the game, most players aren't fighting a lot of dragons or even interacting with them. Some games have their closest connection to a dragon being a dragonborn. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. There are many times where having a dragon in the game would clash with the story and general themes, or just would slow down pacing. I mean, a dragon doesn't fit everywhere, I realize that. However, at the present moment, dragons are mostly saved for boss fights or not at all. and unfortunately, sometimes those boss fights can be underwhelming, especially if the dragon is being piloted by a new dungeon master. This is because, despite being powerful, dragons are sometimes glass cannons. If enough characters surround a grounded dragon, it's gonna die pretty quick. Or, if the dragon completely takes to the skies and begins raining down its breath weapon, a party can quickly TPK. There is very little middle ground in a dragon fight. It doesn't help that dragons have been done dirty in pre-written adventures. Tyranny of Dragons, made up of Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat, just aren't good books. They're boring to run and require a lot of work on the DM's part. In Lost Mine of Phandelver, despite the dragon being on the cover of the book, that is not your final boss. In fact, you can skip the dragon altogether. I won't spoil Storm King's Thunder, but that book too has a dragon, and it underwhelmed me. And honestly, in other adventure books with a dragon in 5th edition, the dragon feels like an afterthought. Somehow, dragons have lost the spotlight in 5th edition. Lots of players and DMs just aren't excited by them anymore. So, this is the part where I talk about what I want to see from the book. Of course, disagree with me if you like. And also, I'm not telling the designers they need to do any of these things. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm a guy on the internet, and I can dream. Okay, first, I want to see more dragons. Like, physically see more dragons in my games. As a DM, I want more options for how to bring dragons into my games. This I will discuss in greater detail with my next 2 points. But, for players, let's see a wider variety of dragon races, subclasses, magic items, and spells to use. If I want dragons in a game as a player, I think it's good to provide options for players to have that agency. D&D is a collaborative storytelling game, and giving characters dragon-themed tools, magic items, spells, races, etc., can only add to the types of stories that can be told. I think spells like Draconic Transformation and Summon Draconic Spirit are great starts to this. Apart from new dragon stat blocks, which we're probably gonna get, I wish to see some pre-made encounters and tips on how to run dragons. Let's put all the designer's advice on dragons in one place. And when I say dragons, I just don't mean dragons with wings and what you typically think about. I mean the actual creature type, an exploration of the dragon type, which includes everything from kobolds to guard drakes and fairy dragons. Finally, let's get some more advice about running dragon NPCs. For me, the fun of a dragon is that they're smarter than the party and also stronger. This is an ancient beast, usually with a fatal flaw. Random tables with names, flaws, treasure hoards, and more would be greatly appreciated on the part of DMs. I personally struggle with coming up with names for dragons that sound cool and interesting and have that thematic flair, so tables or lists containing those names would be a great help to me personally. So, to recap, make it easier to see dragon or dragon type things in campaigns, give advice on running dragons, and help with the creation of dragon NPCs. If Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons can do these things, I will be overjoyed with this book. Hopefully, it can reach the heights of its predecessor, the Dragonomicon. Wow, if you made it this far in this video, thank you so much. Please tell me in the comments, what do you think? Are you excited for this book? Do any of you want to hear more about the Dragonlance setting? I want to hear your thoughts. If you want more content like this, maybe subscribe or drop a like under this video. I'm a small channel and I do wish to grow. And also, thanks for entering the dungeon.